Hello again! Welcome back. As usual, this is Becca, going by Netcat or Netcat's Meow when online. And welcome back for another week discussing Linden Scripting Language. Now, recently I've had a couple of questions there. One of them from a Draws talking about security systems, or I should say asking about security systems. As I mentioned when I replied to the comment, that's not a thing I've played around with a lot, but I have been looking into that, and I have actually something that I'll go over probably in next week's at the very minimum is I actually came up with, I think, a very easy way for keeping track if an avatar is in a certain area. I actually came up with it as part of a on-demand resing system for this sim. So next week I'll go ahead and showcase that, as well as probably some of the things that you can do with it to control where an avatar can go. And the other one is Karen W. I thank you again, your continued engagement with the series. I really appreciate it. When you had asked two things, one of them is about hiding a HUD when it's on screen, and that's a relatively easy thing. I'll go ahead and show that in just a couple of minutes here. And the other was about automatically deleting an object. I think there is a way to get rid of stuff if you are a land owner, and that would be part of the security stuff that I'm going to be looking into for next week and a couple of weeks after, most likely. But the easiest way to delete something is with a script inside the object itself, and I will go over that this week as well. So, the other way you could do it to limit people's manipulating your objects is to set them to no mod. If you're going to be changing texture and scaling through a HUD, you could get away with setting something no mod because the script can still modify it. Just the end user can't modify it. Personally, I'm kind of against that sort of thing. I think the ability to manipulate and modify something as I choose to is a fundamental part of working with things in Second Life. But that should answer your question there. So, moving on to the actual tutorial parts for the day. In terms of making a HUD disappear, there are a couple of ways you can go about that. My preferred one is to assign a special button to it. So this is the same HUD we've been using. I'm going to create. Let's make it a circular button. And of course, we're going to have to reset all of the link numbers to accommodate the new button. In fact, two new buttons. Scale that down nice, right over here. And then the two ways to do it are you either move the HUD on the screen up and down, or you rotate it out of the way, like that. Which, if we make all of these very thin, would make absolutely no difference in terms of how you interact with it from the front. And then we'll just assume that you would put some texture on there that declares, the name of whatever the HUD is. Actually, it's even better to use just that one. There's going to be a bit of a cut here while I search through and see if I actually have an appropriate open and close texture for it. Okay, we're cutting back. I just went ahead and created a quick texture for this in Paint Shop Pro. And those are some truly abominable colors that I had when I created the texture. Alright, so now we have an open and a close button for your HUD, all with one singular prim there. We'll link that in. You should be familiar with these by now. Somebody did actually comment how there is an option that is supposed to show the link number. Sorry, I've been dealing with a lot of things where I need the side and all that. But I have found that depending on the implementation, it hasn't always been the most reliable option. Yeah, there it is. This claims to be link number 5. Let's see if they fixed it, because I did try to rely on that in the past and had it not work out. There we go. Proof right here. It claims that that is link number 2, when the editor window claims it's link number 5. So somebody did comment that it does give you a link number, and I believe I've just proven that that is not always the most reliable method for getting your link numbers. So we're adding a new link number there with hide. All right, that one's number 5 according to the script. It's number 3 according to my editor. I'm going to trust my script. I'm going to take that back out. For 1. Actually, I think I had that wrong there. Four. I actually have something that makes all of that much, much, much easier. To actually go through how that's created would take a long time. But I am getting set up to get it available on the marketplace. No, it's not doing anything that I'm not teaching you how to do. It's just a case of... Actually, I think I've covered most of what would go in it in these videos already. So what we're going to do with this, however, is we're going to take the HUD at this point, add it. There it is. We're going to make that invisible for... Actually, no, we're not going to make that invisible. We're going to do this correctly. We're going to turn this around. There we go. And we're going to set it so this button will make it hide or show. How we're going to do that is we're going to record its current position. We're going to create a quick script here. Please pardon all the miscellaneous stuff there. I actually had made a small error in how I set that up that I have edited out to save y'all having to sit through it. I've told you before, I'm not quite perfect here. Get local position. And get local root. There we go. The mistake I'd made the first time is I just got the basic get position, get rotation, forgetting that because it's an avatar attachment, and those positions are in reference to universal sim coordinates, that it would not identify itself as changed. So with that information, we can go in here. With that information, we can go in here. We're going to add another one of these, else if press equals, remember press we defined up here. Press is now shorthand for detected link number. That is, whichever one of those links that we actually click on, it identifies, and then we have shorthand for which one each of them are, in this case, hide. And because this is going to be a toggle, I added another integer here, integer display. This simply records whether or not the item will show itself or not. So it's been a while since I've dealt with toggles, so I'm going to redo how to handle that right here. Display equals true, and else if you really want to, you can do else if display equals false or double equals. So if display equals false, but it can only have two options because we're setting it up that way. So display equals true or it doesn't. So in this case, we would set display equals false. Remember, you need double equal if you're comparing, which means it is this exactly. It does that because you have options like does not equal, or is anything but true, or if this were being used as a numerical value, is greater than or equal to. So because you can do all that when you're comparing, you need to have double equal or absolutely equals true. When you're defining something, you only need one. In this case, we're defining display as equaling false, or display equals true. If display is true and returning it false, so we're hiding that, we will take the second set of numbers, set position, position is the one that I tend to screw up when I'm typing quickly because there isn't a set local position. Like there is for rotation. There is a get local position, but there is not a set local position. SL is inconsistent that way. Paste. Copy. Paste. Save. There you go. You can now show or hide your HUD, no problem. Now, the other thing that I was asked about is the security measure for deleting objects if they're rezzed out in the world. There's a simple line that will do that. We'll set it on touch start, LL die. So you'll see, I click it, it's gone. It's not invisible, it's just plain not there. Now, in order for that to be practical, you have to know whether or not it's actually attached to the person. And for that, there is actually a way to do that. Pardon me while I pull it up so I can give you all the wiki, and I'll edit out that pause. All right. I looked up the command. It's not one I use a lot, so. We don't need a state entry here. What we need is on res. You want to do this on res, not in state entry, because if it's state entry, it will automatically run when you save the script. You want this to run on res, so it performs this check only when the object is brought into the world. And the check is the command get attached. So it'll be if get attached. There we go. Equals 0. That is what it will return if it is not attached. There is actually a chart on the wiki, if you went there, that will tell you what all of the different numbers are returned for different attachment points. But 0 would be not attached. So if that, die. I will save it. Since that would be a state entry, it's not running. So the object still exists. We're going to rename the object res die test. Take it into inventory. If I res the res die test, nothing seems to happen. It actually kills itself, but in order to better display that, we're going to make it wait a few seconds, sleep for 3 seconds. Now notice it didn't delete itself when I put it on because it was able to register it is attached. Now you see it? There it goes. And poof. I add one. I'll make a quick copy. Res it. There it died, but it's still attached over here. Now, as I mentioned when I was talking about this in the beginning, somebody could just go in, even if this is not really mod, that's actually really the only way you can deal with this, is set it to no modify. And there you have it. With no mod, somebody's going to have a hard time going in and changing out your scripts. And this will make it die automatically in world. I think I have something that is no mod that has scripts in it that I can't manually delete that I can use as an example of that. I normally don't favor no mod even in clothing, but if it's got enough size options and the like, I will, and it's really well made, I will sometimes make an exception, but it is not my preference. Biker style jacket. The L&B Swear Zip. I really like this jacket. All right. Content. It is no modify, no transfer. It only has copy permissions. In that case, it did allow me. I wear it, which isn't going to look right on this Abby. You see, they're still there. No permission to edit. They are, in fact, still there. It would let me do it from Res in World. Nope, it only looked like I could. There we go. That was my mistake. I didn't go back and look at it again. So, if you have no modify permission, and you have something to cause the object to immediately delete itself upon being resed in the world, you have a foolproof way to guarantee it can only be worn as an object, it cannot be placed in world. So, Karen, I hope that solves your questions there. Thank you for the comments and the questions. Keep coming back. I'll have these up every week. So until next week, this has been Becca going by Nightcat or Nightcat's Meow when online. As usual, good luck, good day, and happy scripting. I really need to get outro music.